had no business. Lending out money that was school money. That is not something that you joke about. That is not something that you risk about. And also, does that also mean that I was struggling with people pleasing?
Be a good person, but also be real and say, I hear you. Everyone has problems, but hey, manze, me, shika punch. Me, that's all I can give for now. I promise to check up on you. I promise to be there in other ways, but not financially. And that's a big lesson. That's a big lesson because now you don't have to wing it.
One of the biggest financial blunders I think I've made in my life is I used to bury my head in the sand as far as money. And I think when I look back, I remember a situation where I used to earn good money. And unfortunately, I don't know why, for whatever reason, I used to pay myself very little. And here, when I'm saying paying myself, I'm saying I used to save very, very little.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all keeping well. My name is Wangare. I shall be the host of today's conversation. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Curtain podcast with Centonomy, and I'm going to allow our guests to introduce themselves. So on to my left.
Hi guys, my name is Waresh.
Hi, my name is Kathleen.
Hi guys, my name is Ruby.
On today's conversation, we'll be talking about financial blunders. I've made big financial blunders that you're going to speak on today's conversation. So I'm excited to be here and I hope you are too. So to begin this conversation, I'm going to be spilling a lot of tea here. So I don't know how I feel about it. So I'm hoping, you're going to learn from it the way I learned from it. So to begin with, my first financial blunder was and I started touching money or earning money when I was in campus. So I started doing activation. So that is how I got introduced to money making as an adult. And I remember there was this time, my then boyfriend, and
Yes, go ahead.
Oh my goodness. So my then boyfriend needed some money. And at that time, given the fact that I was a job student, I used to get my HELB loan. And so he needed the money and I had money on me. And he was like, I'm going to return this money in the next few weeks. So I was like, I've known you for a hot minute, I trust you, so by the way, why not, And the role of the HELB loan, of course, was to pay my school fees. And because it was in the beginning of the semester, I knew I have 4 months till just because I used to pay my fee just before the exams, we had to do our exams. So I lent him the money and he promised that he's going to return the money in good time. So weeks go by, and I'm like, by the way, what's happening with that amount of money that you needed to have returned to me? And it got to a point where, he's not being straightforward. He's not giving me back my money. And this is money that I need to sit for my exam. So it means that if you told you don't pay me this money, then I won't be able to sit. Yes. And so the first financial blunder is do not bend backwards for people, and especially when things that are of, great importance. I had no business, lending out money that was school money. That is not something that you joke about. That is not something that you risk about, and also, does that also mean that I was struggling with people pleasing, that my inability maybe of not saying no, or the need for me to be loved. You understand?
Yeah.
So I feel like if at all you've not, done the work or the internal work, also your finances gets, affected in return. So I remember we went back and forth, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
Pesa iko wapi?
yeah.
Tuma pesa yangu.
Yeah. You know, I felt betrayed. And I remember telling him, by the way, if at all you don't pay me back my money, I'm gonna sell this fridge, I'm gonna sell your seats, I'm going to take you to the chief.
Yeah.
No, I'm not kidding. Yeah, I'm not gonna kid about my, the security of my future.
Yeah.
And I did this with, with all good intent, and I expected. And also, this also tells me, or what I learned from this situation is, just because you are a particular person, or because you wouldn't do someone dirty, doesn't mean that other people won't do you dirty.
That's true.
Don't expect yourself in other people. So that was the first lesson that I learned. And I had to use threats. And and that amount of money that I paid him, I gave him 17,000 shillings.
Hey, in those days,
Imagine.
hiyo ni pesa mingi, hiyo ni pesa mob.
Imagine.
Like the fact that it's dead.
Yeah.
Is not your money.
Yeah.
But to be fair, mapenzi saa zingine inatuconfusingi. Love sometimes
is not
it's confusing. It's confusing.
Because that money from the pocket na umpe.
Ulikuwa unampenda in that moment.
That's
And even, you don't even know what the worst thing is. Me, I'm giving somebody money to invest. Me, I have no investments. It's also just such a huge contradiction.
Yeah.
So I remember with my threat, like he gave me 2,000 shillings, and then even me nilikupatia 17,000 yote. And then now you're giving me 2K, 500, 3,000. So I have to have a kitty somewhere just to put those money until, finally, like he paid me all the amount of money. I paid my school fees, and I broke up with him. I
Good
don't move
riddance.
like that.
Yeah. Good riddance.
Yeah. So that was my first financial blunder. So aki uskani judge sana. I was young, I was stupid. But
I don't think tuweza kujudge Wangari. I'm sure watu wakasema ukweli hapa. There are many things we've done, with love being.
And I think I need to add something on help.
Yeah.
Because I've had stories here, the guys who used help to go on dates. They have had a friend who was speaking about how he went for a date in Nakuru. Like they met with this chile, she's in Nax, and help imeingia akajua bas niko mafutani. Now I'm going to Nakuru, and I'm going to look for those good hotels in Nakuru. And
good hotels.
Help yote.
Alikuwa JKUAT. So hajui machumza za Nakuru. Like people in Nairobi, in Nairobi, like hidden gems.
Yes.
Hidden gems za Nakuru. Nataka kuimpress as soon as possible.
Makosa imefanyika.
And I held 15K. Ndio kwa anarudi after the worst date of his life.
Oh no.
But yeah.
17,000 less
Down the drain.
Alitumia
yote.
Oh my God.
I think or something. It was a whole drama.
Okay.
I don't understand why guys, I think, go on dates, especially in a help. Me, I don't understand that.
So what is that now?
Na wana do
Hawana
not
do
impress
watenda
them.
na
also what that
what
teaches
us watumie nini sasa na hawana do.
Wait.
Atadu.
Where would you be happy if your boyfriend was taking you on a
Me,
date?
if I knew ni help, if I knew sidhani ningeenda.
Okay, of course,
Lakini
both of you
ningemwambia
I don't
wewe
think I would.
hapana.
shule.
Yeah.
don't
Both of
think
you
I
are
would.
still in school,
Yeah.
most probably.
Yeah.
So, date.
But fear the reality is that the guy would probably never tell you that it's held.
Okay,
So
there's
you
that.
wouldn't know.
There's
Yeah.
That's the thing, and plus also you want to please this lady, so you'll go over and beyond and put yourself at a disadvantage, sometimes unknowingly, and then it hits you when you realize, oh shit, I'm in debt, I don't know how to get out of this. Like now for your case, you realize I need to pay my fee, and you're probably doing it, with pure intention. I like you, you're my guy, I need to support
And I want you to grow.
and I want you to grow. But then again, that's not what you got in return. I feel like even now, remove the whole help situation. Even now, when we look at relationships, sometimes you will make financial blunders because you want to cover your person. There's a lot that's happening there, and you don't want people to see them as for who they are. So you'll be like, oh, you need this amount of money for business. I got you. Yeah, and we were listening to what Waithaka was saying the other time, where this lady would actually finance the business of the guy, and they never even ended up together. So these are some of the things I feel like come from a point of, you have pure intentions, come from a point of love at that time, but we never really try as much as possible to be logical. And that's the thing with finances. Remove the whole emotions on the side. try and look at it from a logical perspective and ask yourself those hard questions. So you're my person, but are you in a capacity to pay me back? What is your financial situation at this time? And I like the fact that we are having this conversation, because it's also a conversation that people need to have. Whether or not you're in a relationship, we're friends like now, we all work together. It will be so bad for me to probably realize that Wawero, you're struggling to probably come to work, and I can come through. But then again, I come through and then you don't really share okay, what are the dynamics of this kind of thing? So these are some of the blunders that,
And also, it shows that there's a gap of financial literacy in campus or for young
Actually,
people.
many people,
Because
even in relationships, people don't talk about money. They like you wave up around it, and I don't know why. But even when you look back, you realize that it takes a long time for you to actually face the woman or man in the mirror as far as money is concerned. So that would be one of the contributions that I think, it should be in a curriculum like in high school. We should be talking about money when guys are so young, to the point that they can be able to actually look back and understand the core of it. So that by the time you're now even having conversations with that person, you know where you're standing, you know what the expectation is, and what you're supposed to do to just make sure that you honor your word.
And just know what are your limits, because it's not bad to help, but at least don't pour from an empty cup. Support yourself first, and then that liquidity that you're trying to sustain, at least have a bit of buffer where you can say, I can actually part with some 2K, some 3K if someone comes for help. And we usually say you give money that you will forget. So like now, in that case, if you wanted the 15K,
17,000 for my
the 17,000, you'll
school
probably
fees.
say, me, I'm giving you 2K, you figure out the rest.
Yeah.
And I don't need to come through all the way for you, but that doesn't mean that I'm not there for you, I'm not helping you.
And also, be a good person. Because if at all, like we had a relationship, even with friends, because I've also lent friends money, friends have also lent me money. Because sometimes it's life, you never know what's at the turn or at the corner, So we always need to come through for other people. But if at all someone has decided to help you and then you're doing them dirty, it means that the second time or the third time when you're at a fix and you need assistance, they won't be there to help you. So also for you, don't be short-sighted, be long-sighted and see like the bigger picture and the bigger game.
And I think also being, having been someone, let's say, who's been lent money, sometimes it's true. Someone can lend you money and you get stuck. Or maybe what you thought you were gonna do doesn't pan out the way you intended for it to pan out. But I think the thing that we struggle with the most is you're not able to tell them the true picture. So I think that's the thing. We're not saying that, you can't be lent money. You can be lent money. But if you find yourself in situations where, oh no, what I thought I wanted to do or how I thought I'd be able to give this back, it's now not working out how I had seen it. Be bold enough to just share, guys, this is the truth. This is where I am at. I know I had said maybe Tuesday next week, but I find myself in a situation where I'm not able to. And I think I think when I think back, I feel like I've been in a situation where someone lent me money and I kept quiet, like I ghosted because I was like, I don't have the money. What am I gonna say? Now looking back, I'm like, imagine it takes honesty. It takes you being what should I say? I think respectful enough of that person and the sacrifice that they gave you to just go back and say, Aki, unajua makosa imefanyika. I know I had said I would maybe pay back by this time, but the situation I find myself in is here. So maybe allow me more time, or how can we renegotiate?
And also on that note, even before you get to that point, be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
To realize that I will be struggling in the next 2 months. What can I do now so that at least the next 2 months are smooth sailing for me? And I'm saying that from a personal experience, because I'm someone who will take care of everyone and forget myself. I will remember myself when that need now finally gets to my door. Then now I will remember, oh my God, 2 months ago I was actually splurging. I bought this for this person, I sent this person this money, and then now I just have to manage myself. And I don't like being in a situation where you really have to talk about how you're struggling financially. That's not a comfortable conversation to have
with anyone.
And then if you're an independent person per se, you will struggle with it until someone who's close to you will come and say, hey, baby, I feel like you're struggling financially. Do you need help? I really don't like getting myself to that point. So when I'm tracking my expenses, and that's something that I've learned hardly. That's a very hard lesson for me. I usually know in the next 2-3 months there's a likelihood that kutenda vibaya mahali. So I just have to be honest with myself, be selfish, be a good person, but also be real and say, I hear you, everyone has problems, but manze, me shika punch, me, that's all I can give for now. I promise to check up on you, I promise to be there in other ways, but not financially. And that's a big lesson. That's a big lesson, because now you don't have to wing it, you're not just going around with your full pockets, waiting for someone to come and say, oh God, Kathleen is my friend, manze, I don't have this and this and this, ukoni, how much, and you're just spending money. But when you need it, and that's the thing with humans, people will support you when it's mutually beneficial. And ideally, when it comes to finances, people will run away from you if they feel like you're struggling. That's human nature. That's human nature.
Yeah.
So avoid as much as possible to put yourself in a situation where people are running away from you, number one. Number two, you will be struggling alone. Number three, what does that do to your mental health? There's a whole ripple effect that I try as much as possible to analyze before I make any financial blunder at this point.
That's so interesting. I think just jumping onto what Kathleen has said. So one of the biggest financial blunders I think I've made in my life is I used to bury my head in the sand as far as money. You're like, that cannot be me. And I think when I look back, I remember a situation where I used to earn good money. And unfortunately, I don't know why, for whatever reason, I used to pay myself very little. And here, when I'm saying paying myself, I'm saying I used to save very, very little. But I was very okay with going into a club and buying a boti for 5 of us. And I was not feeling anything. And I'm like, but we are friends, but we are celebrating, but it's fun. And true to the word, yes, it was fun. But the saddest thing about it now when I look back is I never knew, I didn't even know how much was left. You know, you're paid and you're like, but kuna pesa, swipe the card. And then now, 2 weeks later, you don't have any money. You have no money to go to work. You have no money to sustain, like the cycles that life has to. And the worst part is, it's so embarrassing because tulikuwa na wewe Club Friday na ukalipa boti ya Captain Morgan. So nataka kusema una pesa. Like what? Hata wewe hizo ni story gani? But, and the thing is, if I was to go back, it's not that I wouldn't have fun. It's just that I would plan my money. And that's the thing that I feel like sometimes I find myself in a situation where I'm like, Aki Ruby, why didn't you do this 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Because the reality is, it was fun in that moment. And it was nice to, we are having fun. We are spending time. We're spending money. But one of the toughest situations that I ever found myself in is when I lost my job. Those people that we used to drink with,
Go missing.
your phone goes silent.
Yeah.
Nobody calls you. And then now you're finding yourself in a situation where you don't even have money for food, but also you don't even have, what do I say? You can't even ask. Because when are you asking where? Nobody's even calling you. And even the ones who are calling you, they're calling for plan ya Friday ni aje. And the minute you say, oh, sina pesa, they shuka. And the interesting thing is, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but pesa ya pombe haikuangi ya kununua food. Like mtu anaweza kuambia ukuje kwa bar, akununulie pombe, but haezi kupatia 300 shillings wende ununue chakula. Like that's the irony.
True.
So I think for me, when I look back, that, as in, I've even felt a knot in my stomach, because I remember that season and I'm just like, hizo boti zote sahi ningekuwa na kaplot maguta somewhere.
Even in situations where you don't have one income stream. So you there's a salo at the end of the month, but in between there's like a 20k that's coming, there's like a 10k that's coming, there's like a 5k. By the time you're realizing when you're doing your budget, you have a lot of money. So what is 5k on a weekend? What's 10k? So I'll still make the money there. Yes. But you don't realize life ni wavelength.
Yeah.
Ile time utakuwa hapa utakuwa na hivi tu na daydream, oh my god, I can't believe yani mimi. So that's something that we really just need to be honest with ourselves and say, it doesn't hurt to just tell people sinunui. mnataka tu mimi sibai.
Or even you to just plan and say, mi nikienda kwa hii bar na intend kukunywa 3 bottles of maybe beer or cider, whatever. And the minute I'm done with the 3 bottles, that is it, naenda home. And I don't know why I feel like now looking back, it used to be that pressure of atuwezi toka club until sote tunatoka. Or if someone says, but you guys, let's stay and listen to another song, 2 songs were there. But now in hindsight, I'm like, imagine, zako zikiisha, please be humble. Chukua tu bag yako, tafadhali, uende nyumbani, ukiwa, with your chest. Yeah. You've had your fun, go home, chill, be easy.
Yeah, me kwanza I don't like being remembered ati Kathleen ule akona pesa
kiongozi
Yule ndo bola bazoo.
Kangi hiyo vibe
problem
Hapana,
most people want that, and especially say when you enter holiday season.
Yes.
You also are burying your head in the sand. It's most say ndo ina happen. Like this is the most time takwa every other day you'll be having feeling you need to prove to us to guys and to yourself that I've had a long year. It has been a long year, and most people want to bury head in the sand. Not be true to yourself. Where unapiga sherehe tu unasema, well, let me enjoy.
We'll cross that bridge when we reach it.
We'll cross that bridge when we reach there.
kazi ni kutembea na charger na sweater.
In case, just in case, plan to jipe.
Oh my goodness.
And I feel like it's until you're sick and tired of being sick and tired is when change actually happens. Until you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm talking to you. Until you're sick and tired of being sick and tired is when actual change happens. And even I remember for me, there was a time I was employed, I was getting income. And I remember like looking back, I could not account for the money that I have been paid. You understand? And I was like, what do you mean? And again, I'm gonna spill tea here. There was a time when there was a time in my life, especially after COVID happened, I found myself homeless, and a friend of mine took me in for a couple of weeks, and I was like, tell me how I got into this situation, and even just to look back and find that I cannot account for the money that passed through my hands. I'm like, I need to do something different, so that I can also ensure that my future is secured, that, that I'm on the route path of wealth creation, whatever that looks like for me. And by the time I was like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, things has to change. And this is what I'm going to do moving forward, is when I began to realize and to make changes that actually set me up for success. It's how I was able to take my first holiday to Diani, which was a solo trip, and even right now, given the fact that I also do IG lives, I can't be preaching water and drinking wine. It has actually really made me very accountable. Even when I say, pay yourself first, actually, even for me, when my income gets into my account, the first thing that I do is to pay myself first through savings and investment. And it's until you're sick and things can't go like this again. It needs to end somewhere and to stop somewhere. I feel like that when you get there is when true change actually begins.
That sick and tired that you've talked about has reminded me about another fine. And truly, this is an episode, guys, where we are really spilling the tea. This is... I feel very vulnerable, but I also believe if it's going to help somebody, then I'm happy to share. So, I have referenced this before. At some point, I lost a job I had and I stayed for a while, then actually got a job at Centonomy. And by the time I was doing that, my kids were in private school. And it's not cheap. But there's also that thing where you're always telling yourself, I want to give my children better than I was given. And it's a good place and it comes from a good place. So for a very long time, I did cycles of not being able to pay the full fees, gawanishing it, kids being sent home, me struggling to figure out where am I going to get the money to top up and instead to accumulate. And again, I was so caught up in my children have to go to private school that I couldn't get beyond that. So I found myself accumulating debt, getting into debt to try and fix that debt. Unajua ile situation unajipata unaomba hapa ulipe hapa unapoza pesa like you're just you're like, hi Peter, send me money, then you PayPal, then you go back through the cycle. And I needed to get to that place where I was sick and tired of my kids being chased away, of me getting messages of you owe this amount of money, of me not even being able to focus because you're sitting at work, but you're thinking, guys, school fees, guys, watoto wako nyumbani, why am I here? Santa fanya nini, all those things. And so I think my biggest lesson from that is if you have to scale downwards, please do it as fast as you can. I know it's hard. I know there are voices in your head asking, what are people gonna say? What I can't believe I'm maybe failing my children, quote unquote. But just do what you have to do. Like don't allow yourself to get into a situation where you're experiencing more trauma by not addressing the issue that is ahead of you. So like when I think about it now, having gone through that cycle, I can't believe I was so caught up in the what will people say and trying to prove a point. I don't know if it was to me or if it was to others. I don't even know.
Something
that
we do.
Probably to me also, yeah, because I'm saying I want to give my kids a better life. But at this point where they go to school, the fact that I can pay school fees, that I think now it's maybe a cycle of probably 2 years or 3 years where I know nobody has been chased away from school. And let me tell you guys another interesting thing. Even I don't even know if the word is not audacity, the point of feeling like you can ask somebody to help, let me tell you, it takes a lot. It takes a lot. And in your mind, yeah, it always cycles back to what did you do with your money? Yeah, mbona kwani huwezi manage pesa vizuri? And especially now, I'd just gotten a job in Centonomy. Then you're trying to navigate and all these things. And but unaweza kuwa unafanya kazi Centonomy na you cannot manage your money properly. Shida yako inakuwa gani? But now, looking back, the thing I would say, when you find yourself in a situation where you can't afford it, please quickly accept. I can't afford it. If you need to cry and yell and do whatever you need to, do it. But adjust and move. And the thing about it is, as you adjust, you learn something, you navigate. And even if you after that, I decided, you know what, I'll look for an additional way that I can make money to be able to just ensure that I'm never finding myself into these cycles. But the thing that I learned that is the hardest and I wish I would have done better is adjust and move. Don't get caught up in. People will say anything, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, getting the education is more valuable than proving that they're in a nice bougie school. And hey, that has been a lesson.
And move.
Yeah. On that note, allow me to just talk to people who people who live with other people.
Yeah.
let me put it that way.
Yeah.
You know, when you're talking about being honest and being truthful to yourself, for me, one of my biggest lessons in life, and I'm still learning to date, is to also be truthful and honest with the other person. Ideally, before, you're alone, you're independent, you have an idea of where your money is coming from, but can you provide like a paper and say, okay, so this is my pay slip, this is my kanini, this is how my money is coming. Me, I used to dodge that thing as much as possible, and this is something that you really have to talk about when you get to that point. And I remember it being a very big argument for us, because now, how am I this is something that's very personal for me, and na si ati siwezi kuambia, it's because I know kuna kitu nilifanya ukirealize kenye nilifanya, I don't know how things are going to be. So just being honest with everyone around you, and that's something that I'm telling you, I'm learning to date. So anytime I have to spend on something, anytime I have to probably use my money in any way, shape or form, at the back of my mind, I need to know that at some point I will talk about it. So how am I going to talk about it? What am I going to say? So it has gotten me to a place where I have to think twice before doing anything. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. But so far I've been able to save so much. I've been able to be very disciplined with my money. I'm not that wing it kind of an investor, you know. I've learned to cultivate a lot of patience around some things and ask as many questions as possible and not embracing, there's something called the law of assumption. You're so delusional. Like you unakaa hivi unaona yes, I can afford a plane, but can you really, just getting yourself to a point where, and yet to be honest, I really love that car, but I can't afford it. I talk about it a lot. I always see myself driving that. Corporate babes tunapenda the CX5, that one red one, you can see yourself, in that CX5, but you don't even have a third of how much that would cost. But you're so delusional. You speak like you have it. You speak like it's in the parking. You speak
it's already there.
It's already
you're about
there.
To walk into it.
So I had to get myself from that high horse and just go down and look at my finances in a logical perspective. And I'm so blessed to have someone who's very logical. You will be asked a question, bako nasema kai yenyewe acha tu.
And I think your accountability, most of the times tunaweza view negatively, but it's a very powerful tool because I don't think this person has any intention to frustrate you. They just want you to be able to have foresight, to be able to see that when you're making decisions, they're informed. Like you're not just getting it. And especially for us who are spendthrifts, we can spend all the money,
Hatunanga
everything.
priority, you know.
Hakuna priority. Unasema, this is nice, I like it. Yeah, I like myself. Buy for myself. Kwani iko nini?
Let me tell you something. I remember one instance. You know, it's easy for you to spend someone else's money.
Oh yeah. Oh.
So I wanted to go to the salon. So what I did, we were not in Kenya, we were somewhere else. So I decided to take a walk. I went and found a salon. So I inquired, how much I want this and this and this, how much is it gonna be? So I nikaambiwa itakuwa this amount of money. So me, my bubbly self, nikarudi kwa nyumba, and I was telling him, I need this amount of money, you know. So there's usually a guy when you want to convert. So you send we usually have a person, you send him Kenya shillings and then he converts it for you. So always know a guy that a proxy, someone like that. So I remember nikiulizwa how much will it cost? I inflated that amount. I'm telling you, Ruby. Right now, I'm back on a shiva, thinking about what the hell was I doing. So I inflated that amount. And then huwezi danganya. Like me, I don't know how to lie. Me, you will just catch me in a lie, you know. So now, and then I can't keep up with lies. I'll get to a point where I'm tired. Ukweli ni fanya vile utafanya sai. So sasa, see, I've inflated the amount. And then apparently he didn't have all of it. So he said, okay, send me what you have in your M-Pesa and then I'll top it up and then so that you can go to the salon. So the moment I realized, sasa natumia pesa yangu sasa.
Mimi natumia
Nika-change, nikasema hata sitaki kwenda salon. Si lazima. So he asked me, wait, ulikuwa unataka kwenda salon ama ni story na pesa? Unaona sasa hapo ndo nikaanza kushikwa sasa. Is it about the salon or is it about the money, you know? And at that point, so me nikakuwa tu I just kept quiet because I knew aki nimeshikwa. What I was told, aki I will never repeat that again. Nilisema mimi kai nitakuwa very specific. Kumeniambia ni 1000 ndio aki nimeambiwa ni 1000. I was even 1050, you know. So now it has gotten me to a point where I even appreciate your money. You know, I appreciate your money because we are all in the same economy. How I make my money is probably the same way you make your money. The frustrations I go through are probably the same frustrations you go through. So why would I put you in a position where you're trying to cover for me so that I can feel good in any way? But yet again, I'm not being honest, you know. So the balance there. So that's something that, lessons.
All right, guys. I know yani hizo ma financial blunders hadi mtu anasikia kama tumbo na akili, unasikia ka stress, ka joto fulani. So we're going to just do something fun just to break the monotony of all the things that we've done that we wish we would have done differently. Alafu tuendelee na hii conversation. You can join us as well. Please, just as we are going through this fun segment, ebu try and see if you can do the things we're about to do here. So I'm so privileged that mimi leo ndio nimekaa hapa. So guys, our fun segment today, we are doing spelling. Are you guys ready?
Wow.
Okay, so I will read the statement and then I'll tell you which word you need to spell. So please, no, I'm from that side of the mountain. So Nikki, shindwa kupronounce vizuri tu muniwie radhi. Haya, tuanze. We'll start with an easy one. So let's start with Wangari.
Wow.
The hippopotamus spends most of its day in the water. Spell the word hippopotamus.
I was hoping it was water.
Sorry. No, we apologize. Asi ngumu sana. Hippopotamus.
Hippopotamus.
Yeah.
Hippopotamus.
Say it again one more time. Yeah, just you missed something. Just say it again.
Hippopotamus.
Yes.
Hippotamus.
Okay. So it's actually Hippopotamus. But you are close. You just missed that PO hapo katikati. All right, Wawesh. The mixture was heterogeneous, containing various types of mercury mixture.
Jesus.
We wish it was mixture, but of course it isn't. Spell the word heterogeneous.
Heterogeneous.
Oh my God.
HETEROGENOUS.
I just missed one letter. So it's HETEROGE, then NE, then OUS. There's just one E hapo pahali.
Mimi
But
niko hapa na
yes,
correct, alafu-
good job. Hata mimi nitajipe moja msijali na sita sijui nitaspelaje.
Ni kama tunakutafutia sisi.
The next one is her effervescent personality brightened the room. Kathleen, effervescent.
Are you serious?
She's on a mission to embarrass us.
Double
No, guys, no.
ER F VE
Yeah.
SCENT.
Yeah, there you go. Well done. So, okay, here our Weru. I haven't looked at the others. That's what you can read one for me so that you see even me, I'm right there with you.
Wacha nitafute wewe.
Okay, effervescent ilikuwa nini? It was a
Bas, ndo hiyo. Unaona uko nini? Uko rada.
Oh my god. Where were we talking about? It's chemistry.
Yeah, it was actually chemistry. Yeah, it was.
So,
Yeah.
Wewe
si tutafute ile ngumu sana. Ai. Be kind.
Okay, in the spirit of kindness.
Yes.
Words like buzz
Oh my gosh.
and splash are examples of onomatopoeia.
What part of kindness? Kindness. Did you miss?
In the spirit of kindness, words like buzz and splash are examples of onomatopoeia.
Okay.
Spell the word onomatopoeia.
Whew. Okay. Oh, it's not like buzz. You don't want me to spell the word buzz? No? Okay. O-double-N onomatopoeia. O-double-N-O-M-A-T-O-P-E-A.
Uh-huh.
I've missed something.
Yeah.
Let's try one more time. Onomatopoeia. O-double-N-O M-A-T-T-O-P-E-A. Imekataa.
Miss kidogo tu.
Imekataa.
Nisaidie.
It's
Kids, nisaidie.
Why?
Take two.
Let me try. I'm trying. O-N O-M-A
Yeah.
T-O-P-A-I-E-A.
You skipped an O. You skip O. It's
Yeah.
O-N-O
Okay.
M-A
Yeah.
T-O-P-O-E-I-A.
Hey.
Onomatopoeia.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you got at least 3 of them. But if you didn't, uko tu kama sisi. Tuko tu sawa sisi wote. I think Wangari, we can carry on.
Yes, so I had shared, you had shared, so we can go to Awero.
All right.
Yeah, so I'll
Yeah.
take you back in time. Niwambie rewind selector. Rewind.
Way back.
Yeah, I want to take you back to what Wangari had mentioned about school and school fees and that period. So we mentioned about financial literacy being a thing that totally lacks, especially in campus. For a person in campus, and especially by given that we have some money, like we have access to money while still in campus, I think some form of financial literacy should really be introduced.
That's true.
So, young and stupid Waweru was walking around the streets of Kenyatta University, and I just heard of investments. Yeah, so everyone is speaking about how you should invest. Okay, of course we had tried betting as a form of investment because
Which is
the
not.
word yes, it is
It's not an investment.
because the word investment is slapped on anything.
Yeah.
Just taking your money there. So that was my blunder. I don't know whether you guys remember a story of a guy who had a Telegram group and people were investing in Bitcoin. But not through proper channels. Alafu wakati alituosha, akacha ametukana watu. Now guess who was in that Telegram group?
Mlinyorosha nyinyi wote kwa Telegram group. Wait.
Ilikuwa hadi kwa gazeti. If for nothing else, I take pride in having appeared kwa national news kama one of the victims.
How many were you?
There was I'm not sure, but it was many people. Like it was, I think, for Business Daily.
Oh gosh.
A guy had come, alikuwa anatafuta, like he was a
Na alikuja
proxy of sorts.
university.
No. Like
Ama
it
uliona
was
somewhere else?
visited to someone forwards in your group. You follow up and akwambia join this Telegram group. You'll be getting information from here and you can invest your money.
Yeah.
So just because the word investment was plastered on it, mimi nikaanguka hapo.
Kaanguka nayo.
Literally, because at the very end, I ended up without money.
Oh gosh.
Now,
Was the money your school fees?
No, it wasn't my school fees.
Okay.
And
Yeah, you are not me.
It wasn't a lot
God.
of money. But
Yeah.
I also wanted to add on the mistakes, especially we do as young guys, because there's also a guy alieka pesa kwa pyramid scheme.
I remember the pyramid scheme tukiwa shule.
Yes.
So,
your period in class we had like 3 guys differ kwa sababu like there was one person in our class mwenye na watu wa class akimkiona pole I'm spilling tea.
Yes.
Mtu wa podcast mtu wa podcast lazima ka spill tea yenu. So we had like several guys differing cause they put their money in that pyramid, in a certain pyramid scheme, and they were hoping to get their money back before your date before exam and then that day came wameleta tu mtu mmoja and unfortunately very unfortunately they had to defer.
Oh gosh.
Oh my God.
And I know it's something that affects most people in this country just because in investment imekuwa plastered. Someone was telling me pia unaona wamesema tununue tukuze quails na weka pesa huko.
I remember that thing. My folks, I think, or one of my aunties invested in it. Kanyoroshwa ki.
So just because anything imekuwa plastered the word
Investment.
It doesn't mean it's an investment. No maana tunakuanga na the stories do your due diligence before you go into any investment, and we say before, if you cannot explain it to say your grandma,
Leave it. Or your 5-year-old.
Or your 5-year-old.
Leave
invest in something that you really know the risks and what are the returns and how are they making you that money that they're giving you back, because you can't just be told ukiweka hapa utapata 1,500 ama 2K. What are the mechanisms? So,
and also I had done an IG live on scam investments. How do you even know of these scam investments and the organizations? Like organizations or investment firms should be regulated by the CMA. So if at all the organization that you want to put your money in is not regulated by the regulating body, then you have no business putting your money there.
Alafu hata hizi stories ati mtu anakuja na kuambia tu invest haraka as in today
rush.
anything that you're being rushed, please take a pause. Imagine, I don't think hizi investments zote tume encounter, if you really were to invest in that particular thing, see, it's not fire, you're not sitting on hot fire. Just give it time. If hiyo deal ati mtu anakuja, if the deal is too good and someone's like hapana ni leo deal inaisha leo, sijui usipo invest leo, imagine no, take your time. There are so many investments, nobody should rush you at a deal inaisha and then you find yourself, chances are high hiyo haraka ya kuharakishwa sana hadi you can't think, you can't ask questions, you can't just go and sit with yourself for 10 minutes and wonder, am I ready, is this worth it, what am I willing to invest?
Want you to think.
So that they can pick up all your tunes.
Thank you for that. And to you, Kathleen.
I'm just listening to your stories. Najiona because I also need some of that. But one thing that I can't seem to get off my head, and it I don't know what's the word, to date, is in campus. I don't know why everyone experienced this in campus. So me, I went to campus far from Nairobi. I was those people where job enda huko, So I found myself out of Nairobi, and I'm not one to just sit down and like, I don't like routines. That's the thing with me. So at some point, unknowingly, I found myself in a business. And luckily for me, I made some good cash, albeit quickly. Like there was a large influx of money in my account. And then very empathetic. Me, when you come and tell me, Akiman,
I give you my life story.
I'll support. So I remember one time a friend of mine told me to his sister alikuwa na join, I think we were in that year. His sister alikuwa na join campus. So So the parents had no money. There was no money, basically. And him being the bigger brother, he was tasked to help the younger sister aingie campus. I didn't even think twice. Ni how much, you know.
Shika, I'm balling.
You know,
Money is not a thing.
Then you are hurry.
Alafu, I never used to make decisions for my money. That's the thing. My money did not have a job description. So that's the first thing that happened that really bothers me to date, because now we are no longer friends with this person. Well, I feel like I helped someone, you know, further the education, but I didn't feel like I don't even think it will ever come back to me. I don't know in any way. I made peace with that fact, forgave myself, moved on with life. Yeah. So Nimejitolea too. Yeah. So the other thing that I did is, you see, now I'm out of Nairobi. The only place you can have fun was either Eldoret or Kisumu. Okay. So I studied in Kakamega.
Yeah.
So the movement, logistics from Kakamega to either Eldoret, it was very tiring. So here I am, someone comes and tells me, oh, you know, you can actually buy a car. Pesa ngapi? Besha shiga na, you know. Direct, come and tell me how much. And I remember my dad and I are very, very good friends. So I called my dad and told, I feel like I'm about to make a very big purchase. Oh, no, naje. My dad is, you know, those people who are very direct. In fact, he told me, when to me is pesa kama nini kama hauna akili at all, you know. Send me that money. But now here I am, I'm making money. Nini unaniambia sasa, you know, I'm making money. So I bought a car. Nani anajua kudrive? Sio mimi. Nani anajua vile ana handle mambo ya gari? Sio mimi. But there's a car, you know. So now I have to train myself to handle this asset, you know. And it's a consumption asset. So every time I have to go back to my pocket, ni fuel. So, because I don't know how to drive, guess who's driving? My boyfriend at the time, you know.
Of course.
Yeah, so unapata, I never even had time to probably grow myself professionally, because sasa weekends Kisumu Eldoret. At some point after campus I had to come back to Nairobi. So he finished earlier, came to Nairobi. But now I couldn't see the essence of me having the car there because I don't know how to drive. I didn't even take initiative to
even learn, even after purchasing.
And then I'm the one who's sustaining this
passenger princess.
I'm such a lover girl, let me tell you. So now he's left campus, he's come back to Nairobi. So I lent him the car. Akuwa anafanya biashara on the side and then send me money.
Yeah.
So we did that for like 6 months. I remember coming back to Nairobi for long holidays. Ndo ikani hit. Ninafanya nini, to be honest.
Kunaendaje?
And that's the thing with me. When I see value at the start of something, every red flag becomes color pink. Hata inaendanga ikikuwa white. Me, you will tell me this person is bad for me, but you are not for me. You are the one
who wants to break this great friendship.
Who's not for me. And more often than not, it's my pocket that will be, you know, achana na roho tutadil nayo pale mbele. But now in hindsight, I feel like if I had invested that money wisely, if I had listened to the advices that I was getting from people who were for me, I don't think I would be very far. Number one, I would have learned so much about money, because now when I came back to Nairobi, I realized my business does not have capacity to sustain itself in Nairobi, so I had to leave it and do something entirely different. And that's why we are normally told life gives you one shot.
Yeah.
If you miss it, you will struggle to get it again. And when you get it again, it may probably be too late. I'm lucky enough to say that I got another opportunity later, but to date I still feel like I let myself down. And that's now where I started now even being dishonest with myself. Like nikaanza sasa hatakuwa delusional, you know. If I made that money back then, say I can still make it, you know. I was able to afford a car at such a young age, say I can still do it, you know. Now I started being delusional and ascribing to the law of assumption. But I've had to painfully and truthfully get myself to that point where I have to unlearn this and be realistic and tell myself, yes, you do want this, but you can't afford it. You know?
That's the true picture.
And that's the true picture. And be honest with yourself. Be honest enough to even tell the person who you feel is for you that I can't afford this. I need help here. Can you come through for me? Having those difficult conversations. And it's a big deal, especially for someone who has learned to be independent at a very young age, to get yourself to that point where, hey, let's just have this candid, discussion. I know I look like I have a lot of money, but manze, this is my pay slip. Unaona hapa kama kuna kitu hiyo 5,000 unaona hapa tukitoa tuta manage, these kinds of conversation. And even when you're hanging out with your friends and then you realize, okay, I may buy round moja, you feel the pressure. Chukueni ingine, and sometimes probably it's not even me, I'm there with probably a friend. So you also don't want to look like I'm just there as a parasite uko hata niwabaie hata chakula, something like that. You probably don't even have the money. And I remember us having this conversation the other time where you're going on a date, but you don't get to enjoy the date because you're constantly asking your friends, please send me
nitumieni kabla bili kuje na ndo ijatosha.
So you miss out on the good things in life. You miss out on that realistic experience that life gives you because you're running after something that's not even there. So that's financial blunder. I've had to pay for it for years on end to date, and I try as much as possible not to get myself to that point ever again.
Yeah.
In relation to that, I've just felt like, when you said that financial blunder that you still deal with, for me, one of the things that I still deal with until now, and since you guys are all younger than me, please take this advice. One of the things I struggled with when I was younger is I always thought like for you to save money, you need to have 5K, 10K, 15K, 20K. So I lived in this bubble where, and I remember my dad used to say, join a circle. But I'm like, join circle, I'm going to pay a thou. Like the money is too small. So I always was like, nangojele siku itakuwa 10K, ndo ni join. Ama ile siku nitaweza kuafford kuweka 10K, ndo ni join. But pia unakumbuka, first of all, niko kwa ile level ya burying my head in the sand. Hata sijui pesa yangu inaenda ngapi, hata sijui. Lakini kwa bani naweza kuswipe card, lakini sina hiyo wisdom ama hiyo knowledge ya kujua hata nikieka thao leo, kesho na next week it will build up to compound interest, it will become something. So I think that's the thing that I would want to share with you guys. Don't get caught up in you need to save 10K, 100K, 50K, whatever it is that you have, start with what you have. Don't overthink it. And that's a financial blunder that I still can't reconcile with myself. I'm like, Ruby, ungekuwa mbali, ungekuwa tu uneka tu kidogo, hata si mob, kidogo tu. But also the other thing I'm aligning with these days is start where you're at. And even if you're like me and maybe age has caught up to a certain extent, there are still people who start when they're 60. So me, imagine niko tu sawa, I will start and start again. But even for you, if you're struggling and thinking that you can't save 100 shillings, it has to get to 1,000, it has to get to 10,000. Imagine it doesn't. You can start with as little as 50 shillings, 10 shillings, 20 shillings. Just keep it, keep it. And I know, Wangari, that statement that still stands out for me, and I know it stands out for you as well, is that some of the money you earn is yours to keep.
A part of what I earn is mine to keep. As in, I mean,
it is mine to keep. I remember, like me, I had seasons of that I had never had about that before. And so me, I was a person of, you grew up in a humble background. So some of the money I have is mine to spend. Nitanunua viatu nzuri siku gani, nguo smart, nini. But now I truly have come to, and there's nothing wrong with buying nice things, but some of the money I earn is mine to keep.
It is. So we can just go round as we say our parting shots as we conclude the conversation.
I think for me, I'll just add onto that, onto what Ruby has said. Right now, my money has a JD. The moment the moment money gets into my account, it has a JD. And I have learned that no is a complete sentence. I don't need to explain why, where, how, who, when, or kulipanda, kulishuka. No, it's no. It's no. I can't come through for you. You hate me, that's on you. You like me, cool. We'll move on with life. So I would say that. I would say that. Just be honest with yourself. Maybe my biggest lesson, by the way, is being honest and being truthful with yourself, the reality, and then just getting off that high horse. Because me, I can be delusional.
Delulu is the solution.
Yeah. And I like when people just tell me the reality. Kathleen, sawa, it's possible, but umejiangalia kwenye huko, and then now when I realize, oh yeah, okay, so now I I become truthful and I become honest and say I can't afford it now, but I'm gonna work towards getting it, and it happens, people tell me I'm a high achiever, but I've realized it's because I'm delusional to an extent. I see that I can achieve it, so I take all the opportunities that will get me there. But now it builds that bad habit that when will you rest, when will you this kind of thing. So just being honest and pause and chill and say, hey, okay, sawa, this is my life, let me live it in my own terms.
Yeah, thank you for that, Aweru.
I think for me, it's one, have the ability to tell yourself and the people around you that I cannot afford this right now. I cannot afford this right now. Maybe tomorrow I will. I'll try my best if it matters to me. But right now, I cannot. Secondly, decision making is not supposed to be emotional when it comes to money. Emotional decision making, making a decision because you want to feel a certain type of way, or because you're bored, or because you're anxious, or because you want to portray yourself in a certain light, it doesn't work well in the long run. So never or don't make decisions emotionally when it comes to finances. Emotions hapa, logic hapa. Tuangalie pesa inaenda wapi.
Tuko tu real.
Yeah, thank you for that. And for me, my parting shot is, as I've mentioned about, do not overextend yourself if at all you do not have the capacity to. So ensure that you're only giving from a point of, I have an overflow. So do not be giving out money that you know that maneno itaanguka, makosa itafanyika. So just don't do that. Also, as even Ruby had mentioned, start where you are. Save the ile kidogo kona. Don't wait, until when you have this lump sum amount of money. It might take so much time before you could actually start your wealth creation journey. And also ensure that you're paying yourself first. This is something that if I'm gonna sound like a broken record, like you must always save, pay yourself first through savings and investment. So when your money comes in, please put some money aside just for savings and investment. So that's,
maybe just before we finish, I think something that I feel I just need to add as my parting shot is, yes, mistakes happen. You find yourself in situations where you've done the wrong thing. Imagine, forgive. And I'm also still trying to learn. Kathleen and I said, bado tunajaribu ku-align. But if you can, please forgive yourself. Learn. What do they say? I think fall fast, stand up even faster. Keep going. Usikuwe caught up in, now I've made this financial mess, I'm stuck, and then you're now completely unable to move. It's a mistake. It happened. You bought quails, or you gave that person that money and they're not going to give it back. Or I didn't save that time. I wish I had, but you know what? I have the opportunity to do it now. So forgive yourself and move. Yeah, it's life.
So thank you once again for tuning in and having this conversation with us. We'd like to hear your opinion, your comments. So kindly put your comments about your financial blunders. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. So till next time, bye-bye.
Bye.